Hi, this is a foreigner in the Philippines. Just thinking over what is a pretty big question for most people on coming out to the Philippines. Uh, it translates over into moving to any other country. This is the best advice I've ever been given from the personal experience of my friend Philip, whose video you have seen. He has a beautiful farm now up on the hills. Over on the other side, you can see it from our place. So they tell me. Right. So, what's the good advice that he gives? What he did, and this does depend on you having a little money start up when you get here and some contacts. So, what he did was he actually put all of his stuff into ballot buying boxes. All of the stuff that he wanted to keep that he guessed that he probably wouldn't be able to find here. Put it into ballot buying boxes, knowing that he would be coming out, say, in 2 months. That's about what a ballot buying box takes, between a month and 2 months. And he put all of his stuff into a box, and he sent all those vital things that he has since been unable to find, like tools of a certain kind, and are not easily available. So if you're a tool guy, then you'll want to do that. Now, all kinds of stuff which I gave away, which had I had a more certain future on leaving the country, leaving the US, that is, I probably would have loved to have taken. I didn't get to take all of my tools, which, had I known then what I know now, I would have done that. So tracing back to find out what would be a good method for making the move, and avoiding all of that agonizing downsizing of all your stuff. Let's call it stuff instead of junk, okay? This is what I think probably you should do. If you're moving in, say, many people actually tell me we're not moving out here for a year, maybe 2 years. So now you've got a ton of time with which to prepare. Now, if you're a husband with a Filipino wife, here's one of the things that I would do if I were you, and I wish I had the foresight to do this. I'd learn the language. Now, when I say this, people who don't want to hear that tell me, oh, well, 170 languages, which one would you choose? You know, you don't need to learn 170 languages any more than you need to learn every language in the world. If you're living in America or England, you need to know English, okay? And if you're a foreigner going to live in those countries, you need to learn English. That's all. You don't need to learn 170 languages. So back to the Philippines. Say you're coming out in 2 years' time. What you start to do is you start to think as if you are in the Philippines. Just think it back to the future. Now, the first thing definitely I think you should put on your agenda is to learn the language, so that when you get here, you're not on the outside of everything that goes on. Because so very often, especially with the work that we're doing now, where I really would like to be more involved in how things are done, even though I'm not about to micromanage our Superman team and Pastor Timio. Sometimes I would have made things clearer if I'd been able to speak the language. So, learn the language. Get fluent with it. Start to talk to your wife about it. Now, if you're looking forward to coming to a girlfriend out here, that's the second choice. Now, if I were you, I would think ahead for that kind of move. Don't amass any more stuff. That's a good thing. And when you buy things on the basis of, will I need this when I make my move? Will it be easy to transport? So if it's a matter of making that 3-piece suite or that corner unit last another 2 years, you might want to consider that. So you think about things that you're going to buy. Am I going to be able to take this? Now, you will be amazed at what you can get into a balikbayan box. Somebody who is actually sending us a box said that at one time they put a flat screen television into a box and it made it safely. So balikbayan boxes are heavy, they have to be carried, and they're not thrown off the truck as far as I know. So I have very good reports on balikbayan boxes. So the closer that you get to your move, the more intense your preparations have to be. Now, as far as the language goes, don't leave that until the last minute, because when you get here, you may well be able to say, "Ano ang pangalan mo?" which means, "What is your name?" But when the person starts talking to you about what their name is, you won't have not an idea about what they're talking about. So learn a little bit more about what the responses are, and that means conversational language. And so Tagalog is a good one as a basic, because you'll be able to listen to and watch the news. You'll be able to watch television. You'll be able to watch some movies in Tagalog, which may or may not be your choice when you see how they do their movies here. Now, one thing I'll make an observation on. Whereas as a Westerner you will be used to very, very sparse dialogue in the modern movies. They rely on very little. They've cut out the hello, how are you, goodbye on telephones. They cut all of that out, and it literally is down to minimal. Now, in the Philippines, the technique is different in movies, and they have a thriving movie industry, making movies all the time. And these movies are made, I think, under the umbrella of the TV companies. So the TV stars that you see featured all the time will be in regular movies, and they are heavy on the dialogue. They never say in one sentence what they can manage to stretch out into 5 or 10. So be aware of that. Right? Now, the closer that you get, as I say, the less you will be buying stuff that you can't bring with you. Now, as far as the balikbayan boxes go, time all of your move to that. Now that would mean that at perishable things that you don't actually need straight away, you could start say 3 or 4 months ahead of time packing the balikbayan boxes. Now here's my tip. Don't send them too early. Send them so that you will actually be there when they arrive. This is a very good tip, because then you will open them and you will get first choice of your possessions. Okay. Now, this is a fact of life that if you've got 2 of anything, one of them will be given away. It's kind of the way that it is. So the other one would be that if you have a pair of shoes and you're not wearing 2 shoes at the same time, one of them might be given away. All right, it's a fact of life. The Philippine mentality of sharing, which is not so bad. Right. Now, the other thing, if you are undecided about where you want to live, listen to the right, what shall we say, the right expats sites, because they're not all real life. We live in a small farm. Now, people that have seen our videos and liked what they see, and that's not everybody. Not everybody could come and live in the style that we live. But there are some people that would like to do that, and they write to me and they ask, what would it cost for 8 or 10 hectares of land? And boy, that's like asking how long is a piece of string. That was always the answer to a question that couldn't be answered when I was in the UK. You say, what will that do? Well, how long is a piece of string? In other words, it just depends where you're going to go, and from one plot of land to the next. When my friend Philip sold or had for sale 2 plots of land, which were big enough to have a nice lifestyle on and to build a house. One piece of the land, they're next to each other by the way, and one piece of land had a nicer view and slightly better, nicer trees, and was just a little bit nicer. Guess what? That was more expensive. So saying there are two plots of land there and they're both for sale, they're both gone now by the way, it's just nonsense. It can't be answered. So here's what I suggest. You should make an investment as early as you can and come out here. And come out for a couple of months if you can. If you can't, come out for a month, rent a motorcycle and go everywhere on it. And make sure that you see a lot of the places that you're going to go to and that you're thinking of living in. Now, here's another, I think, very important thing. When people have said to me, can I go and live near where you are? This is how I see your move, as how it should be idealized. I think that it is best if you can make, and this is coming back again to earlier planning, make contact with people that are living here. Now, if you're like me, you don't want to come and live in an expat community. I don't want that. When I go to Taliban and I see tons of expats all over, call me whatever you like, but I don't rush up to introduce myself. If they look as if they're friendly and the eye-to-eye contact is there, it's great. I'll be doing that, yes. And I live in hope to actually make friends. Like this one at the back now that's decided that she's going to sit on my shoulders. So, try to make friends. With the internet, you can do this very easily, but be discerning. Look at those people that you think you wouldn't mind being trapped in an elevator with before you decide, I want this person as my friend. If you pick someone who you think is good to be your friend, chances are, though there are no guarantees, you will like his friends. Now, not all of your friends, no matter where you go, will like each other, and not all of your friends will you like equally. I have some who are acquaintances that I say hello to. I have some who I share certain things with, certain, I don't know, how to do things, woodworking or laying a brick or building something. I'd have that one friend. And then others are more spiritual. Well, you need all of them. You need all of those. You need all of those different kinds if you're going to have a well-balanced, all-round life. But the point would be that you can establish now, with a visit and meeting a few people face-to-face, and spending a little time with them, you can find out whether your life in that plot of land that you're thinking of buying will be a worthwhile one. Now, I have friends who I can call on to help me, and they can call on me to help them, and I'll help them. Be it in talking, in sharing experiences, be it in sharing how to, whether they're giving me how to or I'm giving them how to, for as minimal as I know. But I have just a handful of friends, that's all, a handful of friends. But they form my support group. Now, here's the other thing. If you're coming out to a new partner, I think it's important, if you can possibly do it, and it's not easy, if you're falling in love with someone and you absolutely adore them, which I do with my wife, it may not happen that all of her relatives follow suit. They may not adore you, and I've had that enough times in my life. Believe me, They may not adore you, and you may not adore them, or they may adore you, and you can't stand them. So there's all different computations on that. The ideal scene, if my wife will get out of my light, thank you. See that? I tell her that and she just smiles. Now, if you got an ideal scene, this is what I would hope that you can on getting what I have. I have a family, my extended family, who I get on very well with, who I have a great respect for in various ways. They're not all talkers, they're not all in one way or the other. It's a balanced family, and they support me and I support them. Now, expats out there will be saying, oh yeah, I bet you support them. I bet you're giving them money all the time, aren't you? No, I'm not, because I don't have it. Now, that's the one aspect of not having a great deal of money, is that if someone asks you for money, you can honestly say, sorry, I just don't have it. But we reach a good compromise. We do work for money. So I need stuff done, and if anybody needs help, I can ask them, why don't you come and do this and I'll pay you. And that works very, very well. On the other hand, just a little while ago, this morning when we were going to church, we nearly tipped the truck. The truck nearly slid off the edge of the path and very, very close to toppling over and losing the truck side by side and toppling over and over and over with a lot of people in it. We stopped just on the brink of a 3 rolling down into 4, 5, 6, 12, 15 feet, rolling downhill and going over that way, not front or back. Straight away I just said, go get Manarado, my brother-in-law, with his carabao. And he came down, he dropped whatever he was doing, and he came down to rescue us. I couldn't move forward and I couldn't move back without the risk of sliding even further and being off the edge. So we got everybody out of the truck and we waited. And in time, as fast as he could, he came down and he helped me. And him and another passing neighbour. This is about support and living in a nice place. Between us, we lifted the truck out. We didn't need the carabao. And for as little as I was able to contribute, it's not about going out for a drink with the boys. It's not about going and sitting at any one of the coffee bars throughout the country of the Philippines and talking with expats. That's not for me, but it might be for you, and you should factor that into your move, so that if you want to come out here and enjoy the company of expats, people living in a similar situation to you, then factor that in. If you want to come out and get away from all of that and have a change of culture, a change of mind, a change of all kinds of things, then the expat coffee bar trip will not interest you. And that pretty well is where we are. Now, if I get in trouble, I can get help. If someone else is in trouble, I can give help. And that's what community is about. So, just to recap, you need to start learning the language ahead of time and get good at it, because getting good at it means the quality of your life will be very, very much improved. So, the language. The other thing is, learn about the Philippines. Learn about the Filipinas. There's all kinds of good. If you can keep your head above the negativity that is in most expat sites, you will certainly learn about how bad life can be. That's only my observation. Maybe I'm a a positive freak. You know, one of those people who doesn't like to hear any bad news. I want to wear rose-coloured glasses. I want to think that life is good. Well, you may enjoy what people call the more realistic view, and good luck on that. That's good for you. It's just not good for me. So you can learn about the good stuff and the bad stuff. I've learned about how Filipinos are terrible thieves. They're just thieves. And I've gone down to my local hardware store and been standing there, put my hand in my back pocket and pulled something out. And then a moment later I get a tap on the shoulder, and a young man of about 30 handed me a 500 peso note. And when he saw the puzzle on my face, he said, "You dropped this out of your back pocket." 500 pesos is a lot of money to a Filipino. And he gave it. The man who helped us out of our truck nearly sliding off today, the man helped Manarado to lift it off. He was a little bit like the Lone Ranger. Do you remember the Lone Ranger films when he sorted everybody out, kicked all the butts of the bad guys and got everybody living straight, and off he rides into the distance, and they always had somebody saying, they're waving to his back, "Oh no, didn't he get onto a hill and then he turned and say yip yip hi-oh," or something like that. And somebody would always say, who was that? "Well, that was the Lone Ranger." Well, I never got to say thank you. Well, this guy did that. He was barefoot, dressed in shorts, no shirt, and it's raining. And he carries a bolo, which is about 18 inches long. And he helped Manarado and me lift the truck out. He got down in the grass. He helped. And then he was gone. And when I asked, I said, "We've got to give that man some money." Not because he wanted money, but why would I not? Why would I not give something to someone who'd just done me a huge favour? She said, "Well, he's gone up the road, but we can catch him up." We caught him up, and Beth handed a 100 peso note out the window and said, "Come." And he refused it. No. He shook his head. No. Shaking his hand. No. We insisted and insisted and insisted, and finally he came and he took the 100 peso and said, "Thank you, salamat." That's the kind of thing that you want to live among. Now, so learn the language, quality of life will be better. Come out and have a look at where you think you want to live and prune it down. Don't come out on a vacation. Come out on a research. If you have already made up your mind that you don't want to live on the coast, now what's obvious is it's not just California or England or Germany or any of those other places that a piece of land sells for more when it opens out onto the beach. You figure it out for yourself. If you get up and you listen to the ocean coming in and walk out onto the sand, you're going to pay, and a lot. So you're going to do all of that. Ow. Honey, can you not pull the cat off my shoulders?
Yes, please like, comment, and subscribe.
And can you be quiet? I haven't finished yet. What is it with this woman? Now, so come out. I think this is really important. It's worth a few $1,000s to come out and have a look. And actually, if you came out, for instance, and you thought that you could live near us, this is a scenario that I can imagine. If you came out and you would meet Beth and I, you would meet all of the support system that I have, Philip and his wife, and Dan and his wife, and you'd meet these people. You'd meet my brother-in-law, my brothers-in-law, and you'd go and have a look at all of these places. And you would get an idea of what it would be like to live here. How do you do that? Well, you walk the ground, you walk the land, you stand in the middle of all of these fields, and you get a feel for it, and you say, yeah, I could live here. And then you talk to someone like Pastor Timio, who would say, well, you have the problem of a well. You're going to need a well. And some things, if you actually managed to buy a piece of land on that situation, you might even want to say right up ahead, let's get a well dug before we come. You might want the house dug. You need someone you can trust and rely on if you were going to do that, or you might want to be here and see the house built yourself. That's what a lot of people do. The safest as well. Right, so you come out, you make up your mind that where you want to live is where you're going to be happy, because that's the object of the move, isn't it? Where you're going to be happy. And then you go home, and every single day you work on your goal. Every day you work on your goal, be it sorting out a little bit more junk from stuff, whatever. That's what you do. And then when you have only 2 months to go and you bought your ticket for 2 months, you send your boxes. And I think that my friend Philip sent like half a dozen boxes. He sent loads of them. He sent his tools, he sent all kinds of stuff, some of which he may have never used, but he has it. So he didn't suffer quite the withdrawal symptoms that I did, because I was coming out to an uncertain future. I didn't know I was going to find Beth and marry Beth and have such a happy life. I didn't know that. I'm not complaining, by the way. So that's kind of more of a real plan of action that is one size fits all. It really does. The language, learning about the culture, making your plans with your stuff, pruning down, building up, setting up your boxes, coming out on a trip, finding a piece of land, or at least deciding the hills, that's where I want to be. The beach, that's where we want to be.